Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremony will begin in 2 minutes. Please turn off all electronic devices or set to vibrate mode at this time. Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremony is about to begin. Please be seated.
If we look to the answer as to why for so many years we achieved so much, prospered as no other people on earth, it was because here in this land we unleashed the energy and individual genius of man to a greater extent than has ever been done before. Freedom and the dignity of the individual have been more available and assured here than in any other place on earth. The price for this freedom at times has been high, but we have never been unwilling to pay that price. Those who say that we're in a time when there are no heroes, they just don't know where to look. The sloping hills of Arlington National Cemetery, with its row upon row of simple white markers bearing crosses or stars of David, they add up to only a tiny fraction of the price that has been paid for our freedom. Each one of those markers is a monument to the kind of hero I spoke of earlier. Their lives ended in places called Belleau Wood, the Argonne, Omaha Beach, Salerno, and halfway around the world on Guadalcanal, Tarawa, Pork Chop Hill, the Chosin Reservoir, and in 100 rice paddies and jungles of a place called Vietnam. Under one such marker lies a young man, Martin Treptow, who left his job in a small-town barber shop in 1917 to go to France with the famed Rainbow Division. There on the Western Front, he was killed trying to carry a message between battalions under heavy artillery fire. We're told that on his body was found a diary. On the flyleaf, under the heading, My Pledge, he had written these words: America must win this war. Therefore I will work, I will save, I will sacrifice, I will endure. I will fight cheerfully and do my utmost as if the issue of the whole struggle depended on me alone. We must realize that no arsenal or no weapon in the arsenals of the world is so formidable as the will and moral courage of free men and women. It is a weapon our adversaries in today's world do not have. It is a weapon that we as Americans do have. Let that be understood by those who practice terrorism and prey upon upon their neighbors. As for the enemies of freedom, those who are potential adversaries, they will be reminded that peace is the highest aspiration of the American people. We will negotiate for it, sacrifice for it. We will not surrender for it now or ever. We are Americans.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, family and friends. Welcome to the Echo Battery, 1st Battalion, 31st Field Artillery, Basic Combat Training Graduation Ceremony. Today marks the successful completion of the demanding requirements of 9.5 weeks of rigorous Army basic combat training for these soldiers. This graduation is your special event to share with your soldier. You are invited to move about and take pictures as you like. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the invocation and the playing of the national anthem. The invocation will be given by the 1st Battalion, 31st Field Artillery Chaplain, Captain Uwadier.
Please pray with me. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me, bless his holy name. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not his benefit. Almighty God and Father, we thank you for your love and mercy over the lives of these graduating soldiers, their families and friends here gathered. Be with us today and always. May your goodness surround us always. May your power preserve us. Bless and protect all our soldiers and all our leaders. We pray in your great and mighty name. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce the commander of Echo Battery, 1st Battalion, 31st Field Artillery, Captain Kravek.
Good morning, Colonel Kunze, Command Sergeant, General Gomez, Command Sergeant Major Rinkins, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I am Captain Kravek, and I am an American soldier. On behalf of the Fort Sill Command Team, welcome to Fort Sill and the 434th Field Artillery Brigade and Echo Battery, 1st Battalion, 31st Field Artillery graduation ceremony. Thank you all for joining us today as we commemorate the accomplishments of your warriors and the newest American soldiers. Before we continue to move forward in this celebration of the Army's next generation, we must take this time to honor those who have served before us. With the military veterans and those currently serving that are seated amongst us today, please stand and be recognized. Thank you for all you have done. 10 weeks ago, these 214 warriors seated before you left home, many for the first time, to become part of something bigger than themselves. Although they arrived as individuals, they are leaving as members of a time-honored team. They have worked and succeeded in every task that was put before them, because failure was not an option. As they tell you, it takes more than boots and a uniform to make an American soldier. They have been instilled with the fundamentals of discipline and have embodied the core Army values: loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. These fundamental values are acquired and put to practice every day through tough, realistic, and safe training. You may have already heard the stories about the sting of the gas chamber, the nervousness of throwing live grenades, the anxiety of rappelling from Treadwell Tower, or the pride of passing the final Army physical fitness test. These stories are just a small representation of the overall experience. In just over 67 days, they trained on 3 different weapon systems, foot marched more than 90 kilometers, learned how to perform life-saving measures, and experienced the beautiful, ever-changing weather of Oklahoma. Every training event is a building block towards the forming of foundations of skills these soldiers are using everyday life and in combat. They have shaped these skills by training like their lives and the lives of their battle buddies depended on it. Furthermore, they understand that the soldier's creed and the warrior's ethos are not just words to memorize, but words the American soldier lives by. These soldiers have met every challenge head-on and have succeeded due to, large in part, to the positive leadership and demanding environments created by our Army's finest non-commissioned officers. These outstanding coaches, mentors, and role models taught your soldiers the true meaning of discipline and teamwork. The drill sergeants' professionalism, competence, and dedication to standards have made lifelong impressions on your soldiers. Most importantly, these soldiers would not be here today if it were not for the undying love and support that their family and friends. I applaud you all. Ask that you continue to support your soldiers throughout their military careers. They became American soldiers for you and your family and their friends. Soldiers of Echo Battery, I extend my gratitude to you for the sacrifices you have made to become American soldiers during a time of war. By taking this courageous step that during this dangerous time in our history, you have truly set yourselves apart from your fellow citizens as defenders of freedom and the American way of life. You are all well trained. You are mentally, physically, and emotionally tough. I would be honored to lead each and every one of you on today's battlefield. Godspeed and good luck. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a round of applause for our newest American soldiers. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Colonel Edward Madison, retired.
Good morning, Colonel Consi, Major Gomez, Command Sergeant Major Rankins, all the family and friends in attendance, and especially the soldiers of the graduating class. I'll start by saying thank you to the leadership of Echo Battery for inviting me here today. It's an honor for me to be here and offer some advice and congratulations to the graduates on their special day. Today marks the end of one relatively short journey of 10 weeks, and it marks the beginning of a much longer one. For many of you, it could be a 20, 30-year journey in your service to our country. As I start my remarks, I want to thank 2 special groups of people who made this day possible for the graduates. First, I want to thank the families of the graduates, the parents, the siblings, the grandparents, the aunts and uncles, and friends who created the environment that encouraged these soldiers to enlist. They may have had military experience, or they may have just shown a great respect for the military. They pushed you, they supported you, they loved you, and no matter what, however they did it, they supported this decision. They nervously sent you off from the MEP station 10 weeks ago and supported you through this journey. And all of the soldiers owe them all a round of applause. That would be you guys. The second group that I want to publicly thank is the drill sergeants. This cadre of professional trainers have turned a group of undisciplined civilians into a fine bunch of professional soldiers in under 70 days. I remember my transition in the summer of 1986, and the process is still very familiar to me and very similar. The drill sergeants are very technically and tactically proficient, and they possess the unique ability to teach others these important skills. As a former training commander myself, I know that many soldiers could not do the job that these men and women do every cycle. The family members of these soldiers who knew them before they left know what an accomplishment this is. We owe them all a debt of gratitude, the families and the drill sergeants. Now it's time to recognize the men and women in uniform before me. This is your day, and you all should be very proud of yourselves. I know basic training has been difficult, and I'm proud of all that you have achieved here at Fort Sill. However, I want to recognize something else first, something that is more important than anything you have done here in an Army uniform. I'm talking about your personal decision to join the Armed Forces of the United States. Less than 1% of American citizens will ever wear the uniform that you have on today of a soldier, an airman, a sailor, or a Marine. Think about that for a second. Our country has managed to survive for 250 years in a world where many countries want to take our land and its vast natural resources. They despise our freedoms, our capitalism, and our democracy, really our way of life. The United States Armed Forces is the only thing standing in their way, yet 99% of our citizens never serve their country in uniform. Each and every one of you made the choice to defend this nation, possibly with your life, to ensure that our country and our way of life survives. That is an awesome responsibility to take on for a young American. It is what makes me proud to put on the uniform today, as it has for the last 30 years. So let me join with the audience and thank you all for making a personal choice to serve your country. It is a sacrifice. It won't always be easy, but it's definitely worth it. Not done yet. Okay. I know that the past 10 weeks have not been easy for you. Even though it is only 10 weeks, I'm sure that it has felt much longer. Some days it probably felt more like 10 years. I know that you all have plenty of moments when you wondered, what have I possibly got myself into? Wake-up calls before the sunrise, PT until you were exhausted, maybe even get sick, blisters on your feet from a lot of marching, but you all made it. You pushed each other, you learned from each other, you have formed friendships that will last a lifetime. You have been transformed from civilians into experts, into professionals, into warriors. Today you become American soldiers, and you should all be so proud of what you have achieved. Please know that we are proud of you. We salute you. Congratulations. It is great to see how you have all embraced the Army values that you have been taught. Loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. You represent a force that brings together individuals from every corner of the country, every race, every faith, every culture, in service of one overarching mission to protect the American way of life as spelled out in our Constitution: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Thank you all for being the newest soldiers in the United States Army. Thanks again for asking me to speak today to help honor your class and its achievements. As you all continue to serve in many unique ways and in places all over the world, may God bless and keep you safe, and may God bless the United States of America.
Thank you, Colonel Madison. In keeping with the 434th Field Artillery Brigade's policy of recognizing superior performance, awards will be presented to those soldiers that have distinguished themselves during the training cycle. Again, ladies and gentlemen, please feel free to come forward and take pictures at any time. but please do not interfere with the movement of the soldiers to and from their seats. Thank you. The Distinguished Honor Graduate of the Cycle Award is presented to the soldier who demonstrates overall excellence in training and character development throughout the training cycle. This cycle's Distinguished Honor Graduate is
Private Shayna Tudayan, Long Beach, California.
The Basic Rifle Marksmanship Award is presented to the soldier that attains the highest score during live fire qualification with the M16A2 rifle. This cycle's recipient scored 35 hits out of 40. The Marksmanship Award is presented to
Private Trinity Carnell, Las Vegas, Nevada.
The Physical Fitness Award is presented to the soldier who achieved the highest score on the final Army Physical Fitness Test. This cycle's recipient scored 365 on the extended scale. This award is presented to
Private First Class Alyssa True, Berkeley Springs, West Virginia.
Sergeant William T. Lesh served in Alpha Battery, 321st Field Artillery, 82nd Division of the American Expeditionary Forces during World War I. Sergeant Lesh was awarded the Distinguished Service Cross for his action on October 14, 1918. While in the command of his artillery section, Sergeant Lesh was wounded by a shell fragment during heavy fighting near Samarance, France. After having his wound dressed at the first aid station, he refused evacuation and continued to exercise command of his section for the remainder of the day. His bravery, aggressiveness, and devotion to duty greatly inspired the soldiers around him. The 1st Battalion, 31st Field Artillery Barracks are named in his honor. The Sergeant William T. Lesh Award is presented to
Private First Class Catherine Biles, Grants Pass, Oregon.
The following soldiers are designated as honor graduates. Their superior performance has placed them in the top 10% of their graduating class. These soldiers have received a letter of commendation from the 1st Battalion, 31st Field Artillery Commander, Lieutenant Colonel Alexander, which has been placed in their official files. We ask that you please hold your applause until all honor graduates have been recognized.
Private Mackenzie Berkey, Huber Heights, Ohio. Private First Class Kendra Briggs, Watertown, South Dakota.
Private Chase Brink, Paso Robles, California.
Private Tiffany Coco, Belmont, Mississippi.
Private Jeremy Cooley, Jackson, Missouri.
Private Cody Espinoza, Idlewild, California.
Specialist Lillian Fox, Sonora, California. Private Debbie K. Fraser Kim, Atlanta, Georgia.
Private Chase Freeman, Cameron, North Carolina.
Private Joseph Friedrich, Tashby, California.
Private First Class Elizabeth Galvan, Needmore, Texas.
Private Alejandria Casberry, Beaver, Oklahoma.
Private Marvin Kimbrough, Placentia, California. Private West Lynch, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
Private Makira Nelson, Carbondale, Illinois.
Private Devin Niebuhr, Hastings, Minnesota.
Private First Class Elizabeth Otteson, Eagle Mountain, Utah.
Private Kobe Pickering, Englewood, Florida.
Private Mackenzie Rogers, Fort Worth, Texas.
Private Sophia Smith, Plantation, Florida.
Private Jean St. Son, Salisbury, Maryland. Private Luhansi Tejada Perez, Charlotte, North Carolina.
Private Malachi Tovey, Ontario, California.
Please give these exceptional soldiers a round of applause. And now, for the rest of graduating class 5318, please hold your applause until all soldiers have crossed the stage. First platoon is led by their senior drill sergeant.
Senior Drill Sergeant Chris Shelby, Seguin, Texas.
The graduates of First Platoon are
Private Bobby Abshire, Fort Smith, Arkansas.
Private Cassandra Acosta, Walla Walla, Washington.
Private Miguel Acosta, Forward, Texas.
Private Jada Adams Walker, Portland, Oregon.
Private Elijah Aiken, Montezuma, Georgia.
Private Justiny Arias, Long Beach, California.
Private Marissa Bells, Shreveport, Louisiana.
Private First Class Devin Baker, Greenville, South Carolina. Private Jonna Balick, Allen, Texas.
Private Zane Barler, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
Private Trevor Barnett, Southern Pines, North Carolina.
Private Sydney Barron, Lakeville, Minnesota.
Private Valerie Barron, Fresno, California.
Private Yamil Barrios, Humacao, Puerto Rico.
Private Noah Bland, Salt Lake City, Utah.
Private Lotto Bowman, Detroit, Michigan.
Private Andrew Bredewig, Menifee, California.
Private Ember Brown, Rochester, New York.
Private Jaron Brown, Salt Lake City, Utah.
Private Joshua Brown, Portsmouth, Virginia.
Private Christopher Bruce, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Private Alondra Cabello Aponte, Fort Myers, Florida.
Private Ethan Carr, Gilbert, Arizona.
Private Maya Carrizales, Sarasota, Florida. Private First Class Emily Carroll, Wenatchee, Washington.
Private Braden Cartwright, Firestone, Colorado.
Private Emily Castrejon, Ontario, Oregon.
Private Alejandro Castro, Riverside, California. Private Ivan Castro, Andrews, Texas.
Private Vincent Anthony Castro, Guam, USA.
Private Cole Cedrone, Youngsville, Pennsylvania.
Private Melissa Caesar, Watertown, Wisconsin.
Private Jessica Childs, Branford, Florida.
Private Jordan Christie, Needville, Texas.
Private Casey Cleveland, Cooley Dam, Washington.
Private Winston Coleman, Lemon Grove, California.
Private David Collins, Rancho Cucamonga, California.
Private Jesse Corrales Estrada, Everson, Washington.
Private Nathaniel Crum, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Private Logan Cunningham, Lowell, Michigan.
Private Nathan Dayshuk, Earlville, Maryland.
Private Noah Day, Vista, California.
Private Jacob DeCarteret, Dudley, Massachusetts.
Private First Class Darissa Dulman, Dodge, Wisconsin.
Private Justice Farley, Sioux City, Iowa.
Second platoon is led by their senior drill sergeant,
Staff Sergeant Johnny Summerfield, San Diego, California.
The soldiers of second platoon are
Private Jack Dedish, Chillicothe, Illinois.
Private Pablo Duran, Yuma, Arizona.
Private Elijah Duty, Alexandria, Kentucky.
Private Quentin Early, Aurora, Colorado.
Private Chase Egerton, Jackson, Ohio.
Private Tracy Faro, Hillsdale, Oklahoma.
Private Manuel Ferragrino, Los Angeles, California.
Specialist Manuel Figueroa, Houston, Texas.
Private Samaya Fisher, Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Private Alex Flett, Spokane, Washington.
Private Jaden Ford, Lompoc, California.
Private Austin Gano, Newcomerstown, Ohio.
Private Marcelino Garcia, Sarita, Arizona.
Private Haley Goheen, Pagosa Springs, Colorado.
Private Beatrice Gonzalez, Youngtown, Arizona.
Private Gavin Grant, Thousand Oaks, California.
Private Taylor Greaves, Olympia, Washington.
Private Anthony Guerra, Phoenix, Arizona.
Private Veronica Guerrero, Wasco, California.
Private Roman Guzman, JS, Mississippi.
Private Rachel Hahn, Fresno, California.
Private Megan Hagel, Onamia, Minnesota.
Private Richard Haregrove, Houston, Texas.
Private Aaliyah Hall, Detroit, Michigan. Private Kelly Hammond,
Bismarck, North Dakota.
Private First Class Vanessa Hansen, Cadott, Wisconsin.
Private Tyler Hartley, Simpsonville, South Carolina.
Private Colton Havelka, Wallace, Michigan.
Private Andrea Hernandez, Concord, California.
Private Kelly Hernandez, Los Angeles, California.
Private First Class Cynthia Herrera, Costa Mesa, California. Private Jalissa Herrera, Carson, California. Private Anna Herring, Delville, Alabama.
Private Elizabeth Hightower, Fort Worth, Texas.
Private Kenneth Hoffman, Fairbanks, Alaska.
Private Rebecca Hofstetter, Joliet, Illinois. Private Amanda Holliker, Cleveland, Ohio.
Private Cambry Horman, Enoch, Utah.
Private Lorandon Howery, Oakland, California.
Private Trevor Hall, Huntington Beach, California.
Private Michaela Hunt, Lompoc, California.
Private Liliana Hurtado, Fort Worth, Texas. Private Sarah Issa, Mebane, North Carolina.
Private Zachary James, Joshua, Texas.
Private Jonathan Jennings, Bristol, Vermont.
Private Lance Johnson, Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Private Victor Johnson, Parker, Colorado.
Private First Class Jihad Lee, Hodo, Texas.
Third platoon is led by their drill sergeant.
Staff Sergeant Sarah Feeman, Tampa, Florida.
The graduates of 3rd Platoon are
Private Jordan Jones, Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Private First Class Michaela Jumper, Eden, North Carolina.
Private Sunwoo Kim, Riverside, California.
Private Kirkland LeBoy, Maiden, North Carolina.
Private Johnny Lottie, Los Angeles, California.
Private Michael Lambert, Guy County, Ohio.
Private David Langdon, Inver Grove Heights, Minnesota.
Private Colin Lang, Indianola, Iowa.
Private Juliana La Rosa, Anaheim, California. Private Anna Latorre, Rawlins, Wyoming.
Private Promise Lattimore, Muskegon, Michigan.
Private Katie Ledbetter, Orange County, California.
Private Colby Ledworth Tolentino, Waiawa, Hawaii.
Private Ishmael Leva Cerna, Santa Maria, California.
Private Echo Lyle, Enoch, Utah.
Private Deja Litzy Adams, Redmond, Washington.
Private Ruby Lopez, Denver, Colorado.
Private Angela Maria Lopez, Harker Heights, Texas.
Private Brian Lopez, Compton, California.
Private Jasmine Luna, Inglewood, California.
Private Connor McDonald, Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Private Falcon Mack, Chicago, Illinois.
Specialist Christopher Magnan, Fanwood, New Jersey.
Private Juan Matis, Dallas, Texas.
Private Michaela Markland, Greensburg, Indiana.
Private Madison Marsh, Noble, Oklahoma.
Private Christopher Martinez, Wichita Falls, Texas.
Private Paula Martinez, Merced, California.
Private Abby Matthews, Coon Rapids, Minnesota.
Private Ariana Madison, Corning, New York.
Specialist Caitlin May, Cleveland, Tennessee.
Private First Class Samantha Maynard, Dothan, Alabama.
Private Matthew McCart, Charlotte, North Carolina.
Private Kayaria McGloster, Rolling Fork, Mississippi.
Private Gerardo Medina, Hollister, California.
Private Erica Miller, Odessa, Texas.
Private Matthew Miller, Oxford, Pennsylvania.
Private Nicholas Minio, Coral Springs, Florida.
Private Jacob Morgan, Amarillo, Texas.
Private Uriel Mole, Allen, Texas.
Private Jacob Myers, Sequim, Washington.
Private Jacob DeBelly, Van Vleck, Texas.
Private Abigail Nipper, Perry, Georgia.
Private Chase Norin, Safford, Arizona.
Private Megan Oldroyd, 29 Palms, California.
Private Kamari Page, Chicago, Illinois.
Private George Paris, Lumberton, North Carolina.
Private Jason Patton, Lone Grove, Oklahoma.
Private First Class Zachary Pennick, Salem, Ohio.
Private Christopher Patron, Sanford, North Carolina.
During the training cycle, there are certain standards that have to be met in order to be distinguished as honor platoon. For Class 5318, 4th Platoon has met these standards and is distinguished as the honor platoon. 4th Platoon is led by their senior drill sergeant,
Staff Sergeant Atia Blackwell, Goshen, Mississippi.
The graduates of 4th Platoon are
Private Chloe Parr, Jasper, Indiana.
Private First Class Sherika Patterson, Memphis, Tennessee.
Private Ismar Perez Benavides, Seattle, Washington.
Specialist Amanda Peters, Lynchburg, Virginia.
Private Wano Pachaki,
Hockey, Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Private Donnie Pino, Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Private Caleb Price, Nederland, Texas.
Private Jacob Rieger, Dixon, California.
Private Miguel Rodriguez, Oakland, California.
Private Esmeralda Sandoval, Walnut Creek, California.
Private Mikhail Shepard, Lebanon, Indiana.
Private Samantha Scholler, Volant, Pennsylvania.
Private Donovan Simmering, Enid, Oklahoma.
Private Desani Smalls, St. Thomas, United States Virgin Islands.
Private Dalton Smith, Mount Pleasant, Iowa.
Private Jalen Smith, Davenport, Iowa.
Private Jose Spandola, Long Beach, California. Private Clyde Stewart, Baltimore, Maryland. Private Bryce Strang, Moore, Oklahoma.
Private Austin Strotter, Lake Stevens, Washington.
Private Haley Struthers, Princeton, Minnesota.
Private Dustin Swain, Maguanago, Wisconsin.
Private Emily Swanson, Norwalk, Ohio.
Private Christopher Swartz, Forsyth, Georgia.
Private Morgan Swayze, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Private Joshua Tabamo, Sylmar, California.
Private Joshua Tao, St. Perry, Wisconsin.
Private Hannah Thomas, Trenton, Ohio.
Private Omega Toledo, Moreno Valley, California.
Private Autumn Toronjo, Jeffersonville, Vermont.
Private First Class Victoria Trumbauer, Chesapeake, Virginia.
Private Yuritsa Yanez Vasquez, Riverdale, California.
Private Isabella Veloso, Saraville, New Jersey.
Private Karina Ventura Hernandez, Merced, California.
Private Paige Vermillion, Broken Arrow, Oklahoma.
Private Jared Wagner, Versailles, Ohio.
Private James Walton, Gig Harbor, Washington.
Private Clayton Watson, Naugatuck, Connecticut.
Private First Class Jessica Webb, Tooele, Utah.
Private First Class Kristen Westbrook, Albany, Oregon. Private Julie Wilkins, Heber Springs, Arkansas.
Private Zachary Williams, Lake City, Florida.
Private Reed Weiner, Yorktown, Virginia.
Private Tristan Winfrey, Fresno, California.
Private First Class Mark Winkler, Oak Creek, Wisconsin.
Please give all of these deserving soldiers a round of applause. At this time, the distinguished honor graduate will present the guest speaker, Colonel Madison, with a certificate declaring him an honorary graduate of Class 5318.
Sir, on behalf of Class 5318, I'd like to present to you this certificate thanking you for your words of wisdom, sir.
We will now present a brief video displaying some of the more memorable moments of this basic combat training cycle.
The soldiers we are honoring today would not be here if it were not for the efforts of the drill sergeants and the battery cadre. These truly professional cadre members gave much of themselves and demonstrated great effort to prepare these soldiers to meet the changes of the military duty around them. The cadre, which are the backbone of the Echo Battery, are First Sergeant, Senior Drill Sergeant Brian Schnell. The drill sergeants assist individuals in their efforts to become highly motivated, well-disciplined, physically and mentally fit soldiers capable of defeating any enemy on today's modern battlefield. The drill sergeants, who are the strength and support of Echo Battery, are 1st Platoon, led by Senior Drill Sergeant Christopher Shelby, assisted by Drill Sergeant William Bowie. 2nd Platoon, led by Senior Drill Sergeant Johnny Summerfield, assisted by Drill Sergeant Catherine Wright. 3rd Platoon, led by Drill Sergeant Sarah Feeman and Drill Sergeant Owen Gordon. 4th Platoon, led by Senior Drill Sergeant Atia Blackwell, assisted by Drill Sergeant Marva Tanksley and Drill Sergeant John Owens.
At this time, Captain Kravek will move forward to present the Drill Sergeant of the Cycle Award. The Drill Sergeant of the Cycle Award is presented to the drill sergeant who has best displayed the qualities of leadership and devotion to duty during the training cycle. This award is presented to Drill Sergeant Gordon from Columbus, Ohio. In recognition of his performance, Drill Sergeant Gordon will receive an Army Achievement Medal and the Drill Sergeant of the Cycle Trophy. At this time, the 434th Brigade Commander, Colonel Conzi, will present Drill Sergeant Gordon a 434th Field Artillery Brigade coin for excellence. Drill sergeants follow a set of fundamental beliefs that guide them in training soldiers. The principles are set forth in the Drill Sergeant Creed.
I am a drill sergeant. I will assist each individual in their efforts to become a highly motivated, well-disciplined, physically and mentally fit soldier, capable of defeating any enemy on today's modern battlefield. I will instill pride in all I train, pride in self, in the Army, and in country. I will insist that each soldier meets and maintains the Army standard of military merit and courtesy, consistent with the highest traditions of the U.S. Army. I will lead by example, never requiring a soldier to attempt any task I would not do myself. But first, last, and always, I am an American soldier, sworn to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. I am a drill sergeant.
Ladies and gentlemen, an American soldier's first act is to swear to defend our Constitution. Just as the Constitution of the United States is the cornerstone of our free society, the soldier's oath is the backbone of the Army's commitment to preserving it. Graduates, please stand for the reaffirming of your oath. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the singing of the Army song. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated while the graduates exit the building.
Center, face. Forward, more. Left, left. Everywhere I go. Everywhere I go. There's a drill sergeant there. There's a drill sergeant there. Everywhere I go. Everywhere I go. There's a drill sergeant there. There's a drill sergeant there. Drill sergeant. Drill sergeant. Drill sergeant. Drill sergeant. Why don't you leave me alone? Why don't you ever go home? Why don't you ever go home? When I do PT. When I do PT. There's a drill sergeant there. There's a drill sergeant there. When I do PT. When I do PT. There's a drill sergeant there. There's a drill sergeant there. Drill sergeant. Drill sergeant. Drill sergeant. Drill sergeant. Why don't you leave me alone? Why don't you leave me alone? Why don't you ever go home? Why don't you ever go home? When I go to jail. When I go to jail. There's a drill sergeant there. There's a drill sergeant there. When I go to jail. When I go to jail. There's a drill sergeant there. There's a drill sergeant there. Drill sergeant. Drill sergeant. Drill sergeant. Drill sergeant. Why don't you leave me alone? Why don't you leave me alone? Why don't you ever go home? Why don't you ever go home? When I go to sleep. When I go to sleep. There's a drill sergeant there. There's a drill sergeant there. When I go to sleep. When I go to sleep. There's a drill sergeant there. There's a drill sergeant there. Drill sergeant. Drill sergeant. Drill sergeant. Drill sergeant. Why don't you leave me alone? Why don't you leave me alone? Why don't you ever go home? Why don't you ever go home? When I dream at night. When I dream at night. There's a drill sergeant there. There's a drill sergeant there. When I dream at night. When I dream at night. There's a drill sergeant there.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony. Thank you for attending.